Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. The topic for discussion today is a very exciting topic called advertising, and this falls under second semester of MBA program. So whenever we talk about marketing, all the people would inevitably get excited by one component which is called advertising, and it is not wrong to say that there is a lot of glamour that is associated with advertising, and naturally also, because advertising is that core function which brings the product close to the heart of the customer. If there was no advertising, there is no marketing. So you might have a great product, you might have a great price, you might even be able to distribute it very well, but if the customer does not know that it exists, he is not going to buy it. So let us deep dive into this topic called advertising. So like one professor was saying, there are only three things permanent in this world. So one is death, the second thing is income tax, and the third thing is advertising. So we are very happy that we will be deep diving and looking deeper into this very wonderful concept called advertising. But unfortunately what happens is, lot of advertising money is wasted. So for example, if you have to spend 100 rupees, lot of companies feel that 50% is getting wasted. In fact, a very great marketer called John Wanamaker actually said, half the money that I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. What is he trying to say is that 50% of whatever I am trying to advertise is getting wasted. So what the student should understand is, even though we are seeing advertising as a very glamorous field, we should also be very careful, because it is a customer's money, and whenever we are dealing with customers' money, we are to giving the maximum effectiveness and maximum impact for the money that is spending on the product. So advertising is all pervasive. What do I mean by all pervasive is, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, advertising is bombarding us 24/7. Somewhere or the other, even when you are opening the mobile phone, we are getting SMSs, we are getting calls, there is, even when you are looking at social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn or YouTube, we are bombarded. In fact, the only time we are at peace is when we are sleeping, but now psychologists are saying that there is a possibility in the next 10-15 years that even your sleep also, you might get what are called as subliminal messages, which means companies can target us yet at a deep unconscious level also. I hope that that day does not come, that at least when we are sleeping, we will not be bombarded by this medium called advertising. So advertising is a very essential business tool. It is as old as trade, indispensable in modern marketing. The forms may be varied, but advertising, every company, all type of companies and services, including doctors, including burial services, everybody uses advertising at one form or another. The origin is a Latin word called adverto, which means to turn around, which means when a person is moving in a very fast pace, if something suddenly happens, he will turn around. So advertising is that message, or that will make people stop and notice. So it is to make people turn around, notice and observe. And most of us might think that advertising is a recent phenomena. The picture that is shown belongs to maybe 60 BC or 70 BC in the Roman Empire, and the message or the sign there is saying public space for taking a bath. So even from 2600 years ago, that is documented. So whenever we are there was always been advertising in village, for example fairs and village melas, or in mandis, advertising is always on. So what is the definition of advertising? So this is how we can define it. Advertising is a paid form, which is not free. It is a paid form of non-personal presentation and promotion of ideas. It could be ideas, it could be goods, or it could be services by an identified sponsor. If a person is sponsoring only, it is called an advertisement. So if you have seen, even in television, there will be a lot of so called social messages happening, but at the bottom there will be a thing that is scrolling saying that this is a paid promotion, this is a paid advertisement, to make you know that the person who is talking on behalf of a company, and he is doing it for a purpose. So we can look at three definitions. Marketing guru Kotler defines it as non-personal communication via paid media with a clear sponsorship. Stanton also says something almost very close. Non-personal, it could be oral, visual, openly sponsored message for a group of people. And American Marketing Association also says almost the same: paid, non-personal presentation and promotion. There are three important criteria for advertising. One is it's paid for. So nothing is free. Communication is a commercial transaction. There is a company, it has a message, it is putting it in a form of advertisement. The customer has to see, customer has to get attention, desire, action, and that action will result in a purchase. It is through mass media. So the moment it is done through mass media is television, mass media is radio, mass media is newspapers, mass media is radio, magazines, mass media is broadcast media, mass media is OTT, mass media is YouTube, mass media is any of these things. For example, Facebook, for example, Instagram, for example, LinkedIn, it could be Twitter. And the message has to be persuasive, which means it is not a passive message. Each and every message of an advertisement is trying to influence to do something or not to do something. Students, please remember, it is advertisements. We all think that it only tells us to buy. Lots of time they tell us not to do a certain thing. Don't drink and drive, don't smoke cigarettes, don't take drugs, okay, underage driving, okay, all these things are. So 99% of the advertisements is to make people buy, but there could be 1% which telling people to stop from bad behavior also. No, wear a helmet and drive. So if you don't wear, we'll punish you. So most of it is positive, but some of it could try to avoid negative behavior also. So what are the functions of advertising? So what does advertising actually tell us? So first thing is information. So advertising tells us how to use new products, how to use new categories, okay, how to, for example, something like Alexa or a new product that will come in, we are taught how to use it. So the objective is to build primary demand. For example, if a cell phone was released, early advertisements were what is a cell phone, how to use it, how to charge it, what is the battery life, what are the functions. Initially we had this phones where we had to literally type. So which means if you type once it will become A, if you type 2 times it will become B, if you type 3 times it will become C. So all this was taught to us by advertising. So advertising is also persuasive. So which means they are trying to push people to buy. For example, they say that unless you brush 2 times in a day, your breath will not be fresh. Unless you are not brushing 3 times, you will get tooth decay, or your teeth will become black in color, you will get some other fungus or something. So the idea is to build selective demand. For example, iPhone, just by its price itself of 1.6 lakhs or 1.7 lakhs is trying to say that my phone is not for cheap buyers. I want selective buyers who can pay up to 1.6 lakhs for the cell phone. And there could be a lot of comparison, direct and indirect. Lots of time they will compare it at a brand or a generic category, or sometimes they will put advertisements straight away. You can see usually newspaper where a product is taken and brands are compared next to each other. Even in Amazon, when you are trying to buy a brand, once you finish seeing your own product, if you scroll down, it will say products available at the same price across different brands. So some brands will be slightly higher, some brands will be lower. So this is called comparative advertising, and lots of time it is called reminder advertising. Students might be wondering, I know all these product categories, colas or cell phones or shampoos, why should I see the same thing again and again? So it is a phenomena called out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see an advertisement for 6 months or 1 year, I might tend to forget it. So that's why these companies keep on continuously putting the same thing, and after some time it will sort of become a jingle in our mind, and the moment we see that advertisement, even if there is no sound, automatically we will say washing powder Nirma or some other product or Limca or Lux or whatever. So lots of time for mature products they have to keep on doing the same thing. For example, when I am thirsty, automatically I will go and buy one of those top cola companies in the world. Or whenever I want to think of a new cell phone, the first thing that will come into my mind is the most popular one or the next popular one or whatever. So this is called reminder advertising. And what are the major objectives of advertising? Finally, the ulterior motive or ulterior objective of any advertising is to sell products, services, ideas. But what are the other objectives? Is to create demand. So, once demand is created, once there is more demand and less supply, customers will automatically come and even try to buy the product in premium. Increases the moment advertising is done, automatically sales will increase because more people become aware. It provides, like we said, it provides information, and that information will make the customers become more interested. Also increases brand loyalty. What is brand loyalty? Is the propensity of the customer to buy the same product again and again. So, even when there is competition available also, or when there are competitive products available also, the customer will keep on buying the same product again and again. And advertisements automatically expands the market. For example, lot of Indian products were only available in India. With the coming of the internet, Indian products are available throughout the world. For example, if you take Indian movies, they are available throughout the world. 20 years ago, the largest grossing Indian movie would have been 50 crores. With now the availability and advertisement, a movie like Bahubali went up to 1000 crores, or a Pushpa 2 went up to maybe 1100 crores, so whatever it is. So, with advertisement, markets will get expanded. Our products, our Indian masalas, our Indian basmati is available throughout the world. So, what made it happen? It is nothing but advertising. So, it is a marketing facilitator. It has got an educative role also. Lots of time it was advertising that taught us how to do things, and even today lots of time when we buy a new product, earlier days they used to use a user manual. Nowadays nobody uses a user manual. They directly go into YouTube, and we have unboxing videos where you can simply open and see how it is performing, and we can simply duplicate or copy the same thing. So, their advertising is playing an educative role, and especially when a new product is introduced, customers do not know anything about it. So, customers are educated. For example, there is a child in the house and is always asking for knowledge. So, earlier times we did not have this chat GPT and all this large language models. Then a company introduced something called as Alexa. Alexa was somebody who was always at home. You simply put the Alexa on and ask any question like when was the first war of Panipat or whatever it is, and Alexa used to respond. So, that way new product development also advertising helps. It is multidimensional and it can be used in various forms, and it also reinforces attitudes in a sense that they will show what one attitude as a great attitude, and automatically everybody will tend to follow. For example, 20 years or 30 years ago nobody used to drink mineral water. So, the companies have has made us, or rather brainwashed us into believing that unless you drink mineral water it is not good for health. So, we actually do not know whether all this bottled water and so called mineral water are healthy for us, but when we were children we used to drink tap water. Nowadays mostly nobody drinks tap water because we are very worried about germs and amoebiosis, stomach upsets. So, whatever it is advertising which is reinforcing this behavior, and 90% of the people have already shifted to a concept called mineral water. Then we can look at the types of advertising. The first thing is called a product advertising. So, where you directly show a product or a service. So, it could be a pioneering advertising, it could be a competitive advertising, it could be a comparative advertising, it could be a campaign that will run for the entire year, for example during the IPL matches, or all of them will have specific objectives. So, objectives are very, very important for any campaign. The second thing is called institutional advertising. So, what is institutional advertising is, let us take it is a time for the new year for admissions for BR Ambedkar Open University. So, they would start advertising in the month of March, April for their entrance test. Okay, that is institutional advertising, and it would be done all over the Telugu speaking states, where whoever wants to pursue their education through the open university mode, they can go in for. So, earlier one we were doing it product to product. So, whenever they are doing it for the entire institution, we would call it institutional advertising, and it will focus on building goodwill and a favorable attitude towards organization. Keeping to the same example, we can say that people are hardworking, who are already working on a job, who want to enhance their education, who want to enhance their skills, they can join an open university program and enhance their skills, knowledge, and even their employment capabilities. So there could be two types of institutional advertising. One is called patronized advertising, presents information about a advertiser's business. Okay, so for example, same example, how do I approach, when will the test be conducted, when will the result come, what will be the different type of courses, what are the eligibility criteria, what would be the fees, when would I get the study material, where would the videos be available, can I attend the classes on a Sunday, assignments, all this would be promoted to the students. And then we have the second thing, which is called public service advertising. It shows advertiser as a good citizen. For example, so one particular company wants to show that it is eco-friendly, so it will plant a lot of trees and it will try to say we are trying to reduce the carbon emission, and those tree planting efforts will be shown on the various advertising campaigns. They are not trying to sell anything here, they are simply trying to say that we are being good corporate citizens and we are not only looking at profits, but we are also looking at the betterment of the society. So the most important part of an advertisement is called advertising copy. So generally students think that when we say copy, it is only the language or the matter. No, the advertising message that is conveyed to the public is called advertising copy. It will have the words and also the visuals. So whenever we are saying the copy, it will have the signs, the symbols, the visuals, the pictures, and obviously the words, which is the body copy, what is written in the advertisement, or the headline, or the baseline, or sometimes we call it the punchline also, which is Hamara Bajaj. For example, it will say the vehicle that India moves on, or something like that. So advertising copy will include all this. And what are the qualities of a good copy? What makes an advertisement memorable to the customers? First of all, it should have attention value. So it should be something that people see, they will look at it and they will remember. So the best example that comes into the mind is Amul's advertisements. Amul's outdoor advertisements were a big rage and is still a big rage, because they have a very beautiful headline, a very humorous visual, and a very attractive message. So which is topical, which whatever is recently happening, they will put it on their advertisement. For example, recently we won a test match. Amul will come out with a very clever advertisement highlighting the India's win over England. So lot of suggestions will also be given to the advertisements. For example, if a baby is crying, the grandmother will say give her Woodward's gripe water or something. So if you give the Woodward's gripe water, what will happen is the child will go to sleep, and it will also be very, very convincing. Okay, cutting edge technology, or somebody will say highlighted security. Volvo will say we are the safest car in the world. Somebody will, for example, somebody else will say the most economical car, or something like that. And most ads will have a remembrance value. The beauty of an advertisement is when it becomes part of the society and the culture. So then what will happen is people will actually wait for the advertisement to come, and it will become as popular as a program that they are watching. Otherwise, what will happen with advertising is people will try to fast forward it, and especially when we are on mobile phones and when we are on laptops, there is a tendency to fast forward it beyond the 5 seconds. Why I am saying 5 seconds is that is a mandatory on a lot of social media platforms that you should watch it at least for 5 seconds. But if the ad is very good, they will watch it for throughout the duration, and that is an added advantage for the company, because you are paid for 1 minute and the consumers are most probably fast forwarding it within 5 seconds. So research should be done to find out what are those advertisements which the customers or the people are seeing the program are seeing it for the entire duration. So does it have a good story, does it have a good humor, does it convey a message, is it telling a small story? So each advertisement should be treated as a story that we can tell within 1 minute. It is not simply telling about the product, and there should be a lot of sentimental attachment that can be built in. For example, we had a tabla player, Zakir Hussain. Zakir Hussain was a very famous tabla player, and he used to advertise for Taj Mahal tea. So Taj Mahal tea itself has got a very iconic image, because the name itself is Taj Mahal, and Zakir Hussain being a very great tabla player, they all became together, and the end after drumming on his tabla for a few seconds, this guy Zakir Hussain, he looks at the camera and says "Wah Taj." So that's how sentimental value can be attached to products. And advertisement should be very simple. We should always remember the KISS principle. By KISS, what I am trying to say is keep it short and simple. Don't try to make it into a movie. It should be something that the people can easily understand and they should be able to remember. And why we want them to remember is when they go to the shop, they should immediately look at the product, recognize it and buy it. It is not simply to be very clever, and we are not looking at angles, we are not looking at production value. It is a message. Is that message received properly? Is the customer understood it? Is he accepted the product? Then once he has accepted, he will go and buy. And advertising costs lot of money. For example, one newspaper advertisement in a major newspaper in Hyderabad, first page will cost between 15 to 20 lakhs, or if you are taking all editions, it might even cost up to 50 lakhs, and it could go up to 1 crore also. One advertisement, one day, one newspaper only. So we need to be very careful. So what are the preparation conditions we should look into when we are preparing an advertisement? What is being advertised? Is it something that a lot of people are buying it? Anything, let's say chocolate, biscuit or shampoo or something, masala or cool drinks or water, then you can spend it on a newspaper and it will go to millions of people. Who is the target audience? Is it the mother or the child? Lot of times the students think that Maggi is targeted at children. No doubt it is targeted at the children, but the child by himself cannot go to the shop and buy a noodle. So it should be, the advertisement should appeal to the child, and it should also appeal to the person who is buying it, who is the mother. So we should be very careful as who is the consumer. In this case, the consumer is the child, but the customer, the person who is buying, is a mother. So we should be targeting it both at the consumer and also at the customer. And what media type or what channel are we going to use? Are we going to use sales promotion? Are we going to use newspaper? Are we going to use radio? A lot of people think that radio is not a great medium, but radio has got great advantages. We will come to that. And what is the objective? What is the desired outcome? Okay, is it to create new demand? Is it to maintain existing demand, or to create even awareness? Okay, advertising, different media, let us look at. Okay, the first media that is very popular, and even today, even with lot of social media, print media has got lot of importance to marketers, because whatever is printed, even today people think that it is genuine and it is believable. So newspapers, what are the advantages we got is they are the cheapest per reach, which means they can reach maybe 5 crores, 10 crore people, high coverage. It can go, for example, in a English newspaper, it can cover the entire India. Flexible, quick response, we can test them locally, build a visual appeal. But the advantage with newspapers is it has got a shorter life, it has got a poor print quality. Because they are printing on cheap newsprint, the print quality is not very good. Obviously, if a person is illiterate, he cannot read a newspaper. There is something called as waste circulation. What is waste circulation is, you can maybe print 1 million copies and 2 lakh copies are never sold at all, and they come back to the newspaper. And costly for limited targets, and there is no uniformity. For example, all customers are not the same, but the message that is reaching them will remain the same. So now let us look at magazines and journals. So magazines, which have, some of the magazines have got very high quality paper and better colors. So longer life, magazines can last for a month also. Reproduction values are better. You can highly select the target audience. For example, there is a magazine called National Geographic, which will cost something like 700 rupees. But the people who are reading National Geographics are very rich, very, I will not say rich people, but the influential people. And especially when you are putting it in the magazines, the brand will start building prestige. Oh, it is come in such a magazine like India Today or The Week or something. There is a high pass along audience. Magazines are bought by one person, but maybe 20 people will read it. Leisurely reading, people will reread again if the article is very good. More attractive printing, reaches very specialized group, generally not very costly. Disadvantages is low flexibility, you need a lot of preparation time, and magazines only come once in a month, and once in a month, and there is copy preparation also becomes a problem. Image also can be built, higher readership. Then let us look at electronic media, which is television. Television is the most powerful because it combines audio and visuals for higher impact. It is very impressive because dynamic nature makes message highly memorable, and in lot of things can be demonstrated. If you are looking at a demonstration, you cannot demonstrate it in a newspaper. Coverage can be high. For example, you put one let's say an advertisement in a YouTube, it can reach every city of the world. Okay, electronic media, it has definitely advantage, very expensive, it is short lived. Targeting is difficulty. We are talking about mass media like television. YouTube can be targeted. Brief ads, so we cannot have a elaborate ad. Even a 10-second ad will cost us very high. So audience may or may not pay too much attention because they are not interested in advertisement, they are rather interested in the program. Okay, radio has got tremendous amount of advantage because radio is typically very cheap, and it has got wide coverage, and only disadvantage with the radio is that whenever people are looking at whenever people are listening there at radio, they are looking a lot of other things also. So on radio we have to repeat the message many times for it to have any relevance or any attention. So quickly summing up, short lived, costly, there are no visuals, everything has to depend on the sound, and measurement becomes very difficult because lot of people, especially when they are driving, will listen to a lot of radio and their attention is not really on the message rather than on their driving. So but still radio is a very good media. Now the latest thing that has come on is the internet and online advertising, where this has transformed communication, where ads can become interactive and you can engage with ad, you can actually comment on it, you can give a message, you can measure it, you can have email sponsorships, newsletters, pop-ups, banners, sponsorships, advertorials. Okay. What are the benefits of online advertising? Because nowadays slowly I think 60% of advertisements have remained on traditional media and 40% have come to online advertising. We have pinpointed targeting with now with lot of databases coming in, we can reach to very specific audience. We can say Jubilee Hills, we can say students between 18 to 21, degree students, we can even target in the gender, by religion. So because lot of data is being collected whenever we are interacting through this online advertising, and it is a two-way communication. Traditional media, it's only the company talking and the customer did not have any way of interacting back, but here it has become two-way interaction and global reach. Like we said, one advertisement maybe in YouTube could reach the entire world. Flexibility, efficiency, most importantly customer engagement. Okay, so we have other advertising media like direct mail, outdoor, okay, outdoor publicity. Then we have point of purchase. What is point of purchase? Is these are the advertising that is done inside the retail store as and when we are buying. Okay, finally let us look at the advertising budgets. Budgets are very important because budgets will decide what is the total money for advertising over a period of time. So the first important advertising budget selection is something called as objective and task method, where the advertisements depend on what is the objective and what is the purpose. The second thing is called percentage of sale, where the budget depends on how much of sale we have generated, and then we have something like competitive matching. And what are the ethical and social objections for advertising should be tackled. And finally, students, please remember that whenever we are framing advertisements, we should be very careful that we should not give any false statements, claims should be modest, avoid complaints, protect reputation, educate consumers, boycott false ads, enforce liability. Honesty is very important, and industry bodies should discourage unfair practices. As a part of summing up, what we can say is advertising is that very important link between the company and the consumers, and unless advertisement is done properly, unless advertisements are projected properly, unless advertisements are honest, the company will lose a lot and the consumers will lose their faith in the companies and in the products. So end of the day, consistency, clarity and honesty will go a long way in making companies promote to the consumers and tell them that their products are the best products to purchase and use and enjoy. So to sum up, advertising is that function that lot of companies focus a lot of effort and even money, and lot of deliberations are done to see that advertisements are very effective, because as we have discussed, advertisements cost a lot of money and they should be very effective, and they should reach or they should attain the result for which they are done. And once that is done, everybody would be happy, the company, the advertising agencies, the customers, and everybody's purpose will be served. And advertisements main purpose is to make the society have better products and let the consumers enjoy. Thank you, students. It is a very wonderful topic, and for more information please go to that study material that is provided to you and all the YouTube videos that will give you more clarity about the subject.